Your ship is still moving, and you already have a decision to make. Kotor sits at the very end of a long, winding bay, with gray mountains rising almost straight out of the water on both sides. The sail in is one of the most beautiful approaches in all of cruising. But the moment the gangway drops, the old town, the bay, and the mountains all pull you in different directions at once. Get the order right, and a single day here feels generous. Get it wrong, and you spend half of it deciding. So here is exactly how to spend your one day in Kotor Montenegro without wasting a minute of it. First, that sail in, because there is something worth knowing while you stand at the rail. Almost everyone calls this place Europe's southernmost fjord. It looks the part, with those steep walls plunging into deep, still water. But it is not a fjord at all. No glacier ever carved it. It is what geographers call a ria, an ancient river valley that flooded when the sea rose. So you are not sailing up a fjord, you are sailing up a drowned river canyon, which is rarer and, once you know it, even more dramatic. Get up on deck early for it, coffee in hand. Where you land makes this easy. The cruise pier sits right outside the old town walls, about 300 feet from the main gate. Dock alongside and you are at the edge of the medieval town in under 2 minutes, with an underground walkway and an escalator so you skip the busy road. On the busiest summer days, smaller ships anchor out in the bay and tender in, a 5 to 10 minute ride that changes your timing. So check whether you are docked or tendered before you plan anything far. Now the real question, what kind of day do you want? Kotor gives you 4 very different ones, and it helps to know which traveler you are. If you want the iconic photo and don't mind a workout, you climb the city walls and explore the old town. If you'd rather have charm without the hard hike, you head up the bay to the little village of Perast and the island church just offshore. If you're a view chaser, you drive high into the mountains of Lovćen National Park. And if your perfect day ends with your feet in the sand, you slip south to the beach town of Budva, the town and the walls you do on your own. The further you go, the more a tour makes sense. A quick word on tours. The cruise line's own excursions are easy, and they guarantee the ship waits for you, but you usually pay more for the same trip. Local operators run smaller groups, cost less, and spend more time at the sites. The reputable ones know cruise timing cold and build in a sensible return buffer. In a port where the best trips involve mountain roads or boats, that local knowledge is worth something. Step through the main gate and you're in a tangle of stone lanes, little squares, and old churches that has barely changed in centuries. There are no cars, just smooth marble underfoot, washing strung between shutters, and the smell of coffee. Aim for the main square with the old clock tower to get your bearings, then let yourself get a little lost. That's half the point. And here is something most cruisers miss about Kotor: the cats. They are everywhere, and they are not strays anyone resents. They are the unofficial symbol of the town. Kotor was a busy trading port. Ships carried cats to control rats, and over the generations, those ships' cats stayed and multiplied. Locals say they helped keep the plague out by keeping the rats down, and to this day, a cat here is considered good luck. There is even a tiny cats museum tucked into the old town for about €1. One early trap to sidestep. Don't grab the first taxi at the Pier promising a tour of the bay. Local drivers meet every ship, and prices spike 2 or 3 times higher in July and August. If you want a car, agree the full price before you get in. Better still, decide your plan on the ship, not at the gangway under pressure. One handy note: Montenegro is not in the European Union, but it uses the euro, so leftover cash from your last stop works fine here. If you only do one thing in Kotor, make it the climb up the city walls. They run for nearly 3 miles around and above the town, and St. John's Fortress at the top sits around 850 feet above the bay. It's roughly 1,350 steps of old, uneven limestone, worn smooth by centuries of feet. Most people take 45 minutes to an hour, and the higher you go, the more the whole bay opens up beneath you. These walls aren't just for the view either. They held off the Ottoman fleet of the feared Admiral Barbarossa in the 16th century, while other towns along this coast fell. You're climbing real history. A couple of honest things about that climb. Entry to the upper fortress costs about 15 euros, and it's cash only. So bring euros off the ship. Go early or later in the day because there is almost no shade and the midday summer sun is brutal. Wear proper shoes with grip and be honest about the effort. It is roughly like walking up a 60-story building on uneven steps. So if that is not your day, the old town below is flat and easy, and part of the wall on the town side is free to walk. When the climb has earned you lunch, this is where Kotor tastes like Montenegro. The dish to find is Njeguši prosciutto, a dry cured ham from a mountain village just behind the bay, smoked slowly over beechwood. Locals have a saying about how it should be sliced, thin enough to see Mount Lovćen straight through it. Order a platter and you will get it with hard mountain cheese, olives, and bread. Exactly the slow, salty meal you want after 1,000 steps. For the best value, skip the first table on the main waterfront and find a small konaba in the back lanes. Here is where your day forks for real. By early afternoon, you can stay right here in the old town and on the waterfront, wandering the lanes, swimming off the rocks, keeping life simple and close to the ship. Or you can head out into the bay and the mountains. Both are good days, just different ones, and you cannot do both well in port hours. Let me lay out what is out there. The most rewarding trip for most people is up the bay to Perast, a tiny car-free Baroque town about 7.5 miles north along the water. From its waterfront, little boats run out to a small island just offshore called Our Lady of the Rocks. And this is the beat nobody tells you. That island is not natural at all. The whole thing was built by hand. Back in the 15th century, two fishermen found an icon of the Virgin Mary on a rock barely breaking the surface. And after a sick brother recovered, sailors began dropping stones there for safe passage. Over the centuries, they sank more than 100 old ships loaded with rocks to build up the base, and slowly an island rose out of the sea with a church on top. To this day, every July, the town rows out at sunset to throw fresh stones around it and hold it against the waves. The church inside, hung with silver offerings from generations of sailors, delivers on the story. You can reach Perast by a local bus from outside the walls or a short drive, then a few euros for the boat across. If you would rather stay close, the in-town afternoon is lovely and far less rushed. Walk the free lower walls, find the back lanes the morning crowds never reach, and swim off the waterfront where the water is clear and calm. For travelers who would rather feel a place than tick off sites, this is the better half of Kotor. There are two bigger trips if you want them, but each eats the whole day. Up behind the town, a road climbs the mountain in about 25 tight hairpins to Lovćen National Park and the mountaintop mausoleum of Montenegro's great poet Prince, with a view said to take in nearly half the country. And about half an hour south sits Budva, a walled old town of its own, ringed by sandy coves. Both are worth it. But here is the mid-afternoon warning that catches a lot of cruisers. Don't try to cram the mountain, the walls, and Perast into one port day. Pick your one big thing and commit. Trying to do everything is how people end up doing nothing properly and watching the clock. So how do you choose between paying up and doing it yourself? The walls are cheap and easy on your own. Perast and the island are doable by bus and local boat, but a small group boat tour that strings together Perast, the island, and a swim stop is good value and saves all the waiting. And Lovćen is the one place where a guided trip or private driver genuinely earns its cost, because the road is demanding and the timing is tight. Honestly, if the mountains are calling, this is the port where a guided option takes the stress right out of the day. And that brings us to the trap that ends more Kotor days badly than any other, the clock, and specifically the way down. Those limestone steps are worn glass smooth, and the descent is slower and more slippery than the climb, especially on tired legs. People budget for the climb up and forget the climb down takes nearly as long. Add in the narrow gates that pinch everyone at sail away, and if you are tendering, treat the last tender as your real deadline, not the all aboard time. Because the queue stacks up fast and the tender will not wait. Give yourself a real cushion and aim to be back through that main gate at least an hour before all aboard. More if you have gone up the bay. Getting back is simple if you have stayed close, because you are a 2-minute walk from the ship. The one thing to do before you sail, stand at the rail as the ship pulls out and watch the walls slide by, lit gold against the dark mountains. The same view sailors have come home to for 1,000 years. That's the picture you will keep. We've added our favorite local tours in the description below. They're good value with smaller groups, and they've always got us back to the ship on time. Tell us how you'd spend your day in Kotor Montenegro, and keep watching for the next port.